Good evening, everybody. Oops, I forgot to put the darn screen up. All right, tonight we're just going to kind of emphasize on how to do some scanning, and we're going to use, we have the pleasure of having Jeff Gibby here with Metastock. So one of the projects I'd been working on for the last couple of years with Jeff was getting the scans all set up on the Metastock program. Oops, Rick, here we go. I'll give you a second to still getting used to this new layout from Omnovia. Rick, you just tell me when you're all set to go. Okay. All right. So one of the things, or one of the topics that I constantly get emails from or private messages is, oh, you have these symbols and patterns. How do you find them? And so there's a kind of a twofold process here. One, we want everybody to learn how to use the scans. Number one, and number two, we want to have everybody have the ability to use the scan successfully. So that's why we put all the formulas into the Metastock program. And because of, let's see, what have I done here? Because the visual analysis of candlesticks is so simple, we have a great opportunity to be able to write formulas. And they don't have to be nearly as difficult as lots of formulas for people's programs or their priority program. As long as you can say candlesticks or describe a pattern, you can write up the formulas. So with that, obviously we've got the 12 major signals. And what Jeff and I did over the last couple of years was I kind of quantified which signals and patterns which have the highest probabilities of not only being in the correct trade at the correct time, but also the most force in that next move. So formulas in for the patterns and also the the signals and the patterns. So a lot of people ask, well, what universe? Can you do it in a specific universe of stocks? Yes, you can put your own universe into what you're looking to trade. Now, my universe happens to be stocks greater than 500,000 shares a day. And so other people like to just have universes. You can apply this to FX, yes. Ralph, candlestick analysis is not an analysis of a market. It is the analysis of human nature, which is applicable, can be applied to all markets, whether you're trading Forex, bonds, commodities, stocks, tulip bulbs, anything that has fear and greed in it. Candlestick analysis can be used for that. Now, the only problem we have with Forex is because it is a 24-hour trading market, you're not going to have the gaps. But you're still going to have quite a few of the signals. This is being recorded, yes. All right, so you can make your universe whatever you want. Now, when we're trading for scans, we're looking for the signals and patterns, the fry pan bottoms, the flutter kickers, like we saw a while back in Amazon. We also, when we're looking for our signals and patterns, patterns or signals for evaluating which way the trend is moving. For the example, the morning star signal in the Dow, or the morning star signal right here on the J-hook pattern, tells us we're in an uptrend, or whether we're in a sideways mode, which is what we're seeing right now in these markets, or whether we're in a downtrend. Seeing a bearish J-hook pattern, the market is moving in general, is so that we can do our scans for the appropriate signals and patterns. Obviously, if we're heading in a downtrend, we're going to be looking more for the sell signals. We're looking for those breakout type of situations where we can see a new trend characteristic bouncing off the bottom of a trend, breaking out. So we've got a lot of analysis that we can do when we're analyzing a trend. I don't know why we have some of these on here. But based upon where we are in the trend of an index or a individual stock price, we're looking for the signal that works appropriately. We're looking for those flutter kicker signals. We're looking for the hammer signals being confirmed. So this is not rocket science. Now, I advise everybody learn how to use learn how to identify the patterns on your own. But more importantly, if you've got a software program like we have with Metastock, where all those signals and patterns are there for you to be being identified, not only does it become a very valuable tool, speeding up the time that it takes each evening to go through looking for signals and patterns, but it also, for those that are learning the process or learning the signals and patterns, speeds up the learning process. That you might not remember, or you might not remember what a left-right combo is. But when you see it, doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal, especially down here in the oversold area, and you see what the results are, this is going to be a very a fast way to not only become profitable by doing the searches or using the searches or scans, but it also teaches you a lot faster how to use those scans. What is the first book on candlesticks you recommend to learn? Oh, I would read the High Profit Candlestick Patterns first. Then I'd use the Candlestick Patterns Eliminating Emotions. And then I'd go back to the first book. Can't remember what the Profitable Candlestick Trading. And that would just kind of give you an overall review of what you already know, but just kind of confirm. So you might not recognize or understand what a pattern is and how it works. Well, using the scans, it'll find that for you. Fry pan bottoms. Also, knowing or identifying those patterns and knowing what a breakout should involve, a breakout to the upside or a doji sandwich, that just adds the credibility that once you find these patterns, now you know what to be looking for to make sure that they are occurring or doing what they're supposed to be doing, or doing what we expect them to be doing. Here's the classic. Big fry pan bottom, strong price move. There's our J-hook pattern, which is our classic, which is what do we expect for a J-hook pattern to set up? A very strong price move. What's our results coming out of a fry pan bottom? Very strong price move. So this is a very bottom breakout, profit taking, and the next wave in progress. Or the scoop pattern. That we know what the parameters are for a scoop pattern. And or the signal that tells us that the scoop pattern is going to be working effectively. So the one thing that I discovered through the years is not only recognizing the pattern, but understanding what was the psychology that created them, and knowing what the results should be from those patterns. So if I see a scoop pattern, and I think the market is sloppy or even negative, I can still put a lot of money, because if you go back to the simple premise that candlestick analysis is the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a particular time frame, that if you see a scoop pattern setting up and we know what the high probability results are, a slingshot effect to the upside, that this becomes a much stronger reason to be buying this one, even though the markets may not be showing any great enthusiasm, either sideways or even bearish, because, again, being the cumulative knowledge, this pattern was developed knowing what the overall market conditions were. And if we see that scoop pattern and we know our best friend is a doji gap up, that just kind of enhances our analysis of what should be occurring coming out of that pattern. Kicker signals. Always want to be scanning for kicker signals, because they're going to produce your biggest, strongest up signal. Like we've seen in U.S. Steel. This is U.S. Steel today. And so what's all our analysis on this one? Well, first of all, we got a Morningstar signal. Secondly, we've got a kind of a little scoop pattern. Third, we've got a close above the T line, breaking this downward trend channel. Where is our next likely target? Up here. So once we've done the scans, this is today's pattern. This is a J-hook pattern in PRTA with potential upside of this same magnitude, classic. This is our left-right combo, telling us there's probably going to be a lot more upside because of the left-right combo. This is our little kicker signal in cyber today. And where did it kick to? Kicked up above this downtrending channel, above the T-line. Where's our next likely target? The 50. Now, is that far enough away to make a reasonable profit? It looks like it. I mean, it looks like that's approximately a 10% move to get up there, just to see whether we're going to get to a place where we're failing. But if I can make 10% on a bad trade, that compounds very quickly. So having the ability to analyze through the scans, or the scans doing the searches for you, gives you the opportunity to take most of your time to analyze which ones have the best potential. A slow curve, kicker signal, breakout, like we saw in Smith & Wesson a few days ago, giving us this type of move. These are the type of things we're looking for. But we don't want to have to spend all night looking for them. I try to keep my analysis of the charts less than 20 minutes each evening. Now, sometimes that's harder because on a big day in the market and you've got 85 very strong charts, your analysis has to be a little bit faster to say, all right, which ones of these have the strongest reversal signals? Which ones have the best friend? Which ones are bouncing off a 50-day moving average? Which ones are doing a kicker signal? We go through that quantified list to see what ones have the best upside potential. Right now, the market is moving sideways. So what becomes our best probabilities in the charts that are showing a pattern that we know what the result should be? Even though the market may not be helping it out, it's given us a high probability of a strong trade. And if this is coming out of a scoop pattern that confirms, meaning if it opens positive and starts trading positive, breaking this level, where's our next likely target? Up here somewhere. What is your settings for the... So what I'm trying to do every evening is not spend a whole lot of time finding the signals and patterns. I want my scans to do that for me so that now I can click on them and put them on another list so that once I have found them, I can go back and evaluate which ones have the best probabilities of moving the strongest. So that puts us in a whole new ball game of not trying to just find good trades, but finding the trades that are good trades that are going to be the best trades. Now we're working off a universe of excellent trade setups. Now we have to analyze which ones of those might be the best out of that group. Because in the worst case scenario, even if you pick out some very good ones and they don't happen to be the best ones, they probably still have good upside potential or downside potential depending on which way you go. So fortunately, the software programs, especially like the ones that we're going to show you from Metastock, allow you to free up your time from going out and finding the signals and patterns to finding the signals and patterns real fast and then spending your time to evaluate which ones are. So this was just kind of an introductory that so that Jeff could come in from Metastock. Jeff Gibby, who's a very good friend of mine, and we've been working together here for, I want to say 2 years, but I think it's getting closer to 3 years, to put all the formulas into their software where you don't have to spend time hunting. Scanning software does for you. Now what you want to do is spend most of your time evaluating which ones of those signals and patterns are the best ones. Did you update your scanner for Metastock? Trevor, I don't know what that means. You have to buy Metastock? Yeah, Metastock's one of the software scanning softwares that probably has quite a few more benefits, and I'm going to let Jeff go into that, but they have quite a few more benefits that if you're trading anywhere, I mean, their feeds, they've got tremendous feeds for trading the commodity markets, currency markets, stock markets, anywhere in the world, or most of the exchanges in the world. Just gives you a lot more flexibility. And I would say the only disadvantage of Metastock is they've got so much good information or services on their software. You're never going to have time to go through and figure out all of them. I mean, they've got so many good things there. So with that, what is your creature? Don, we've already done to this. I've already done kind of a quantitative analysis. A lot of people will ask what signals are the best. Well, we've already narrowed them down to 12. 6 buy signals, 6 sell signals. That's narrowed down from the 50 or 60 candlestick signals out there in the candlestick universe. Over the years, I've kind of narrowed it down to these 12 because not only are they probably the most effective, but they are probably the ones that occur often enough that if you learn the 612 major signals, or they say learn the 612, if you learn the 12 major signals, it's going to account for probably 99.5% of all the trades that you'll ever do. And once you understand what those signals look like, as well as what the investor sentiment was that created them, you pretty much have an understanding of what goes on in the market. So when I first learned candlesticks, I wanted to learn every single. I was greedy enough that I didn't want to miss a good signal or pattern. But then what I discovered was that other than the 12 major signals, most of them don't occur often enough to spend any mental time and energy trying to learn those. Just learn the 12 major signals. Now, again, people come back and ask which ones are the best. So we've kind of narrowed them down to the best. And my answer is none of the signals or patterns or none of the signals anyways are any better than each other than the kicker signals are very strong. But there are combinations, like the doji, gap up, your best friend, or the left-right combo, coming out of a fry pan bottom on a breakout, is extremely strong. So we've kind of quantified them, and those quantified signals and patterns are what we've put into the Metastock scanner. Actually, let's see, let me go back at, or what is your key criteria for your, okay, again, that's the quantitative, can we do this with TradeStation platform? You don't have the scanning capabilities. You've got the charting capabilities on some of these. You have some of the scanning capabilities, but not to the magnitude of somebody like Metastock. Somebody mentioned TC2000. TC2000 is good, but you'll find that your customer service at TC2000 is lacking, and there's a big dichotomy of TC2000 that you've got what you get, and that's it, whereas Metastock is constantly improving things on their end. Is this end of day chart or streaming? You can get either. So with that, whoops, I've already went way past. Now Thinkorswim, again, those type of charts are, you have scanning process. Metastock is a pure scanning software, and it's probably about the best one out there. So we're getting a lot of questions of, was that you? Oh, it is you. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
So let me do this. Jeff, welcome. Yep. I can see you all right. I hope I'm not. I hope I got mine undone. But all right, everybody. Here's Jeff Gibby from Metastock. Again, they've got some very good stuff, and he will answer quite a few of the questions that you're coming up with. Jeff, welcome back to the Candlestick Forum. Glad to see you here.
Thank you, Steve. Can you hear me okay?
Fine and dandy, yep.
Okay, great. Good to be here. Thanks for having me. A little bit, introduce myself a little bit. My job, I've actually been working for Metastock for 18 years now. The last several years, I've been in charge of kind of our partner programs and developing our technology, and it's been a lot of fun. Steve and I spent some time on the road over the summer, and actually, I have to admit that had a really good impact on my actual personal trading. So to kind of
Jeff,
really see him. Yeah.
Jeff, let me interrupt you. Your sound is a little bit hollow. Might need to put your mic a little bit.
Is that better?
Better now. You're way too loud. So it's better now.
Okay. I think it's using a different microphone other than the one on my head, so I'll talk into this. In fact, I can see it is. So I'll just talk into my microphone.
Okay,
cool.
Good.
Thanks for the heads up. Okay. I'm going to leave the volume at this level. Larry, let me know if it's still too soft. Okay? And I'll just talk into the microphone. That usually helps. I usually leave one on my head because I have a tendency to get a little animated when I start to do these. A bit about who I am. Been working for Metastock for almost 20 years now, and I really have a pretty cool job here. My job is to work with people like Steve. Had the opportunity to travel this summer with Steve, and we did a couple of road shows. And actually that experience has helped my trading pretty incredibly, just being able to kind of sit and listen to Steve talk and kind of understand his patterns a little bit more, that kind of stuff. And so all in all, we did spend a few years actually working on a product with Steve to kind of get his scanning right and kind of make sure the patterns were all right. And show you how we can automate the process for you. I'm going to show you how you can get the Steve product on a money-back guarantee. And while you do that, pick up a free trial for Metastock if you haven't heard of it. And really, we should spend like 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how many questions there are. It might go a little bit longer than that, but it is a very simple process, and that's why people like it so much. I do have to say, right before we get started, I'm very proud of the product we put together. Every year, Stocks and Commodities actually votes on the best add-ons for any particular product, and this particular product was a runner-up in the Reader's Choice Award this week by Stocks and Commodities this year. So I was pretty proud of that. It's been extremely successful. My customers have loved it, and I hope you guys do too, and I hope you guys give it a shot. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started over here. I know you can see my screen, at least I hope you can see my screen. Since we are a company, I have to read this out loud. I've got it memorized. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock should have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. Okay, there we go. A little bit of a mouthful there. A little bit of background. We're not going to spend a lot of time in PowerPoint today, but Metastock, some of the things that we like to say, it's really good at scanning. One of the main reasons people come and pick us up. We're not a brokerage. We're a standalone software program, so you can use it with whatever brokerage you want. Doesn't really, it isn't just scanning. It does test trading methodologies built into it. We have a patent pending forecast module that I'm not even going to show today because it isn't part of the conversation. But we're pretty proud of what we've done. We're an ex-Thomson Reuters company. We bought ourselves back a couple years ago. And one of the things that we're most proud of is for 24 years in a row, we've been rated #1 in our price category. So in any case, let's talk a little bit about this product, the Steve Bigelow product. Really what we've done is we've taken Steve's patterns, and there's quite a number of them. I've listed the ones that we actually identify on a chart, means in a chart. I think that we're going to switch over to the chart right now and show you exactly how we utilize these patterns and how that works. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to show you right here. This is the Dow Industrial Average, the DIA. This is an instrument I like to trade. And actually some of these trades I've taken. So we'll kind of take a look at them. I'll kind of walk you through them. I want to show you how I got to this particular screen. When you initially open up Metastock, you're going to be shown the Power Console. Up here, you can just type in the name of an instrument you're interested in. In this case, I chose DIA. And if you come over here to where it says Apply Template, just come down and we call it CPS for Candle Profit System. There's a couple of different versions of the template. I had to find it real quick. There's the Chart View Futures, and to the chart, it's going to apply the T-line. It's going to apply all the moving averages. It's going to apply the stochastics that Steve likes to use in his trading and kind of get it set up in the method that you want. The way our pattern identification works is you'll see that every time we kind of identify a pattern on a chart, you're going to see Doji Best Friend right here, left-right bullish combo, the bull kicker. The patterns actually look and work really, really well on the chart. If I kind of just show you some of the signals, not all of them are going to work out, but as long as you use kind of Steve's recommended stock strategies, it works really, really well. So we do draw them on the chart for you. One of the things that we also do is relates to a lot of the questions you've asked, like how do we identify which ones we want to take? Because a lot of times you're going to be looking at stocks that you've actually kind of run a scan for, and you'll have like 5 or 6 that you can actually trade from. And so what we try to do in the product, let me just open it up here, is we've got a little bit of a commentary that will explain each of these signals to you. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up the commentary. Here it is off to the side right here. By default, this commentary is going to default to the very last bar. So if you're looking at real-time data, it'll be, and maybe an hourly chart, it'll be the very last hour. I'm looking at a daily chart, so it's the very last day. And I can actually go in and I can click on any of these patterns, and it'll kind of give me an explanation of them. Right now, it's not giving me any type of an explanation, really, because there's nothing much to say about this bar. It didn't kind of qualify for any of the patterns. But if I come back here and I click on this left-right bullish combo, for example, it's actually going to tell you what this pattern is. It's going to explain it to you. If you're interested in taking advantage of the signal, you can look to go long. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. You'll want prices in the oversold area, stochastics below 20, not necessary, but preferred. A doji spinning top forms kind of tells you how the pattern is actually formed in here. I'm not going to read it all out. Since a lot of the patterns that we're looking for is a little bit of subjective, like you're looking for kind of that rounding bottom, we kind of tell you what criteria we're actually looking for, so you can kind of make sure that it matches up with what we're drawing on the chart. So we'll actually tell you what we're looking for here in the pattern. And then since you're looking at quite a few of them, because you've run a scan to find these particular instruments, it's actually going to tell you what to look for so that you can kind of grade the individual. 3 left-right bullish combos, for example. How do I decide which one I want to trade? Well, the enhancements to this particular setup is the bigger the bullish engulfing signal, the more powerful the new uptrend will be. Obviously, this one was freaking huge. I don't know if you guys remember that. I certainly do. And if the signal occurs at a major technical level, like your moving averages, your Fibonacci level, or a support level, the more powerful it might be. In this particular case, we actually had 2 patterns that formed on this day. We had the left-right bullish combo, and we also had the cradle pattern. So it's actually also going to tell you about that, give you the specific criteria that drive that particular pattern, and the enhancements for that pattern as well. So it works really, really well to kind of allow you to look at stocks after you've run a scan and kind of help you figure out which ones work. I want to show you how scanning works as well. Trevor says, is this a new version of CPS? No, this is the version that we released initially. Okay, and I know there's some questions coming in, and I will kind of come back to those a little bit as well. But let me show you how the scanning works. So let's go ahead and come back in here. This is the Power Console again. Here's the charting. This is where you open up the charts that you're interested in. Explore is what we call it. System Tester, again, we're not going to talk too much about this. And this is our Forecaster, which is our patent pending statistical analyzer, to put it in a nutshell. So to run a scan, what we're going to do is we're going to click on the Explore button right here. And what I've done, I've actually pre-ran these. It took a few minutes to run through all of them. But basically, since we have quite a few patterns that we're looking up, we've broken them into different patterns, like the Doji Dynamites. If I hover over this, it's going to say, okay, this one is going to find Dojis at the top. It's going to find your Doji best friends, your left-right bullish combos, your left-right bearish combos, series of Dojis. So those are the patterns. If I look at the J-hook, it's going to look at your five-tab bottom with the J-hook and your J-hook. We look at the power signal. So they're all broken up into different scans. And then there's 2 bonus scans that are available that we call the universe scans. These ones we developed with Steve right after we developed the product. He called me up and he said, "But really, that's going to basically build me a pre-filtered list of stocks that are above $5 and have a volume of at least $200,000. So it only took a second or two. Metastock's really easy to write scans for. And I put it together for Steve, and I decided to throw it in with the product as a bonus and make it a bonus offer. The Universe Oversold does the same thing. It looks for stocks that are $5 with an average volume of at least $200,000, but it also looks for the stochastics that are at least above 20. So those are bonus scans. They're not officially in the product, but we basically include them. You just have to ask us for it, and you can send me an email to actually get them. These 4 are the ones that are included in the product. So God, I'm glad your sound is working well. SY says, I purchased the software a couple weeks ago. I don't have the bonus and the bonus universe oversold on my Power Console. Just send me an email. Let me type it in right here, and I'll just drop you those. It's a little bit of an install file, and it will get them to you. I hope you're liking them. Just drop me a message right there. Grateful One says, can you trade straight from the chart like Thinkorswim? Not right now. We are probably linked with the biggest brokers like Thinkorswim. So, Larry, one of the nice things is actually with Reuters, we get all of our data through Thomson Reuters being an XTR company. So we actually do have Canadian stocks as well as about 193 different exchanges globally. And yeah, you can use it with the Canadian stocks. You basically would just trade through your broker like you're used to doing. You don't have to, with Metastock it's a little bit simpler. You don't have to deposit a bunch of funds. You just basically get the software. If it's helpful for you, you keep it. If it's not, you don't. And yeah, we do offer, Doug, a free trial of the software as well. And I'll tell you how to get that in just a minute. With the Steve scans, it's a one-time cost. It's fairly inexpensive. There's not a free trial on that. It's basically your money-back guarantee. And if you do that, we actually will give you a free trial of either our real-time software, which is full real-time, or our end-of-day software, what we call our DC software. Now, it's not, I keep saying end-of-day because that's a little bit of a habit. And actually, none of our software is end-of-day anymore. End-of-day version of the software actually updates every hour. So for scanning, it's perfect, and that kind of it does a really good job. Jamie asked a good question. It's not a Mac product. It's actually a Windows product. It does work on a Mac, but you're going to need to install Boot Camp or Parallels and Windows. So sorry about that. Sat says, do you have to pay for data on a free trial? No, it's a free trial. It'll include the data that you're interested in. And again, if it's helpful for you, I appreciate the question too. I appreciate the interest. If it's helpful for you, you just keep it, and you don't have to pay for data on the free trial. The only exception for that is if you do a real-time trial, which you're welcome to do. In that case, you do have to pay what are called the exchange fees. And we don't make any money on the exchange fees. It's just fees that we pass on to like NASDAQ or Amex, and they're not very expensive. Like, for example, if you pay for, it used to be $1, it went up a little bit, but I think if you pay for all the stocks in the U.S., it's like $5. It's pretty inexpensive. Okay? All right, let's, SY says, I love it. It's very easy to use. Yeah, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. So what we're going to do here is basically I've selected these scans to run. Down here I've got a little bit of an instrument list. Okay, so by default it's probably the first time you open it up, it's probably going to look like this. We'll work a little bit in custom online lists in a second. Those are like your favorite lists or your watch lists that you've created, and we're going to create one in a second. But the first time you're going to run one of these scans, what you're going to do is you're probably going to want to scan like all the optionable stocks, or maybe all the stocks that are in the S&P 500, or maybe the ETFs, or a list. And so to get to the list, what you do is you'll come to this public list. You just click on this, and then you'll have some options that are available. You can go into equities, Asia, Europe, Middle East, Africa. North America is probably what most of you are going to do, unless you're from a different part of the world. Or futures or index. And you can come down here, and they've done a really good job of organizing the list. It was a little bit of a challenge for us because there's about 387,000 issues that we have actual access to. So how do you organize that so you can find it in such a way that's very, very quick? And I think they did a really good job, our programmers, in designing this Power Console to get you straight to what you want. So if we wanted to scan all of the U.S. optionable stocks, we just put a little check mark here. And by putting the 3 check marks here, we're going to scan for all of the patterns against all of the optional stocks. Now we can select as many groups as we want. It just basically adds it to what we're looking to do. Once you've, I was having a pretty bad echo when I was listening to Steve David, and what I ended up doing was logging out of the webinar and back in, and that echo went away. So if you're having an echo, that might be something to recommend. It was terrible for me. So I certainly understand. So once you're interval here, so this is going to scan the daily charts. You can also, if you can also scan for weekly if you want to, or whatever periodicity you want to. Generally, you can just leave these settings here the way they are. And you'll just click on the Start Exploration button. It'll take less than a minute or two and come back with the results. So, because it takes a minute or two, I've actually run the scan already. I'll show you the report and how that looks. Right here, this is the doji pattern report. And up here we've got the column names. So this would be your doji at the top, your doji best friend, your left-right bullish, your left-right bearish, your series of bearish doji, the series of bullish doji. So these are the different. All of them will have a one in at least one of these columns, sometimes two, but usually just one. And so if you're looking at the doji on the top, out of the optionable stocks that were available today, there was just one of them. We could go ahead and open the chart. But usually what I like to do is I'll actually save this list so I can kind of go in and evaluate all of the different doji patterns that are out there so that I can kind of see which ones I want to trade instead of looking at some random company. And to do that, what you're going to do is you're just going to save this list. You see the button here that says Save List? Just click on Save List. And what I do, you see I run this scan all the time. There's big CPS, CPS pre-filter list, CPS. I run this scan a lot. I just cleaned up this list as well. But what I usually do is I'll say, okay, I want to create a new one. This is my CPS list for December 10th. So I'll put a little bit of the date on there so I know when I ran it. I'll go ahead and create this. And then you just click on OK. And that basically puts the list into Metastock for you. And I'll go ahead and close this out. Now I want to look at the charts. I'm going to come back over here to the Chart tab. And what I'm going to do is instead of looking at, first of all, you want to take any symbols out of here so that you can look at your list. And then instead of looking at the securities down here, or just kind of a random security, I'll come to this CPS list that we just saved, 1210. Okay. And really what you have to do is you click on this first one. You don't have to open all of this from here, although you could just click mark them all if you wanted to. I like to kind of get a feel for it and move to the next one. And then what we'll do is we'll apply that template again. So we'll come down here to the CPS bonus, or the CPS equities chart view. I'll go ahead and click on Open Chart. It'll open up the chart for me. It's got the expert attached. And then, oh, except for I opened it up on a weekly chart. Let me open up on a daily chart. I can kind of take a look at this left-right bullish combo. I can kind of take a look at this signal, which is pretty good. I can kind of look at the price activity of the stock, how it's behaved recently, where it's at in price, kind of get a feel for if I like it or not, where it's at in relation to the support and resistance in the T-line, that kind of stuff. And then once I'm done with that, I just click on this button right here, which takes me to the next instrument in the list, and that'll give me the next setup. And that way you can kind of identify those ones that you want to trade. So it's really, really simple to use. Let's answer a couple more questions. Glenn says, I signed out and came back in and the echo was gone. My echo was terrible when I got in. I signed out too. I came back in. Ralph says, can I use this with FX? You can. You can scan. If you come in, I have not touched on FX. Yes, if I had touched on that. But you can actually open up FX charts. You can watch them for the patterns. It will work just as well as it works on stocks. I haven't had a lot of experience with CPS patterns on FX because I haven't traded in that way. But it will work, and you can run the scans as well. Jim says, does Metastock offer training workshops? Yes. As part of the offer, actually what we're going to do is we're going to include our full training course called Unleash the Power of Metastock, which you go through. It's a bit of a home study course. And we also have a wonderful tech support team that actually is still here. In spite of, they're actually going to be here for another 2.5 hours tonight. So they have really long hours, and they're here really to kind of help you with any questions you might have. Brett Hoffman asked, does it work intraday for live charting, 1 minute update for daily traders? Yes. You can actually apply this to any interval that you'd like. If we wanted to look at this on a 1-minute chart, we could actually just come, it'll show it to you. This stock probably wouldn't be a great one to look at on a 1-minute chart just because of kind of the way that it looks like it's trading. And the other thing I'd recommend that you do is, and this happens with any system, is wait till about the close of the bar, because you might get a cradle pattern that forms, but it kind of goes away because the price goes down and everything's based on the close of the bar. So just wait until the kind of towards the end of the bar to kind of make it. Basic question from Ken Hertz. I like it when you say it's a basic question. Is there a usable correlation between daily trading volume and the height of the candlestick bottom? Well, that is a basic question, but it kind of goes, I actually don't have a great answer for that. It might be something you could ask Steve in a bit of a different venue. I try not to give advice too much. I actually do trade off of that DIA chart with Steve's methods, and it works really, really well, but I don't really feel like an expert except for when it comes to Metastock. So you want to look at UCO? Let's look at UCO. So if I wanted to switch charts here, I can just type the symbol. It'll actually bring up UCO, which I'm not sure what it is. We can kind of go back and look at kind of where the patterns happened on it. There's a pretty good dumpling top that happened. This is going to probably be today, 12:10, yeah, at 143. Again, I haven't looked at it a lot on 1-minute charts. I know that Steve likes to use a lot of, be happy to do that on an intraday basis if you want to drop me a message. Gary asked, do you have the Ichimoku cloud? We do, and it is available in Metastock as an indicator. Larry says, besides Bigelow patterns and indicators, can we use our own indicators? Yeah, absolutely. If we wanted to add your own indicators, I'll cover that real briefly here because it's really easy. I don't have to spend too much time. But let's say we wanted to throw a MACD on this chart. This is our list of indicators. There's a couple hundred that come built in, and you can create your own. If we wanted to throw a MACD on here, we just drag it and drop it where we want it to be. And there you've got your own indicators. It's also really easy to go in and kind of create scans as well as alerts as well as experts. So you can actually really, really customize Metastock fairly easily. Ivory says, can you work this scan with CSI Unfair Advantage? I don't think so because I didn't write it for CSI Unfair Advantage. So I'm going to say that's probably no. You want to look at some euro? Sure. EUR equals. One of the things, okay, here's euro. Okay. Probably what I'm going to do is go up to about a 30-minute chart, just so that we can kind of see a little bit more activity. Did have a cradle that triggered right here. There's a slow curve that was pretty good. Oh, there's a slow curve that was awesome right here. So as long as you kind of trade it with Steve's recommended stop losses, looks like it would be pretty good. Obviously, you'd want to look at this a little bit more than just like a couple of days. Here's a pretty good T-line crunch. This 5-pound bottom, you would have gotten out on the T-line stop. This one looked really good. So what I would recommend, instead of opening up a bunch of charts and kind of having you look at them that way, I'm going to kind of come back in here to the PowerPoint, and I want you to be able to be comfortable with it as a product. It's a very, in my opinion, which is totally unbiased, awesome product. But and I really like Metastock as well. But the candle profit system, just to kind of tell you a little bit about what it is, it's a one-time cost. It's $399, and you can actually get that at $299. For those of you that don't have Metastock and you need to get it, we'll actually include a free trial of Metastock, either the real-time version or the DC version, and we'll give you a 30-day money-back guarantee on the product. So we want you to be able to kind of we of course want you to keep the product, but we want you to be comfortable with the purchase, and we want you to be making money with it and that kind of stuff. So there's a way you can kind of be able to kind of look at it, evaluate it, and see how you like it in your own trading. I hope it's helpful for you. It's certainly been helpful for me. Metastock.com/candlestick-forum-A is the landing page for that. So if you key in the web browser, you can actually go in. If you have some questions, all of our staff is actually at our Christmas dinner party. So they're not here right now. They usually be enjoying the dinner as a company, which is pretty cool. But you can give them a phone call and ask them specific questions in case I miss them. They're actually really good. Their phone number is 800-882-3040. And you can also chat online with them. Again, they're not in right now, but you can chat online with them at metastock.com/sales-chat. Gary said, couple of questions I'm going to scan up. Trevor says, how can you create a scan from a chart pattern? Oh, very, Steve can attest to this a little bit. We spent a lot of time creating the scan, and the guy that actually did the programming on this, I do a lot of Metastock coding, but not this one. I actually had one of our actual programmers do it, and they spent hours and hours just looking at different charts. Okay, why does this look as a gap pattern? Why does this not look at a gap pattern? And I would say is actually completely brute force. I think we did a pretty good job with it. Stephen, appreciate that. He said, I used Metastock several months ago and had the pleasure of meeting Steve and Jeff in Las Vegas. I like your name, Stephen. I've read a couple of your books. It's a great product. A little bit of a learning curve. Support's excellent. And we will help you with the learning curve as well. One of the things we want you to do, it's a free trial for us. So we have a vested interest in making sure you understand how to use it, which is why we include all of the training. Gary asked a question, how many charts can you display at one time? Up to 100 in real time is how many you can watch in real time. I watched a webinar the other day. Does it include the triple play indicators? I'm not familiar with those, Thomas, so I can't say yes in good conscience. Maybe we can look and do a little bit of research offline to figure out exactly what those are. SAP says it's asking me to pay for the data. It might ask you to. If you're doing the real-time trial, it might ask you to pay for exchange fees. And you do have to do a credit card to pay for the Candlestick Forum. But you don't have to actually select any of the exchange fees if you don't want to. If you don't, you won't pay anything except for the $2.99 for this Candle Profit system. But your data will be delayed by 15 minutes. SAP on the phone with somebody in the morning if it's malfunctioning in some way. So, but I appreciate your signing up, and I'm sure you'll love it. And if you want, I can have somebody give you a call in the morning, or you can give us a call in the morning, and we'll make sure that everything gets set up properly. Ron says, what's the difference between RT and DC? RT is full real time, as long as you pay for the exchange fees. DC is the daily version of our program. And basically the difference is instead of streaming, it updates once an hour during the market day. Diane says, is there a monthly fee? Not for your first month. After your first month, the fee starts at $59 per month. I wouldn't recommend you pay for it. If you decide you like Metastock, I would recommend you talk to one of our sales guys, because they can actually kind of convert you over to what we call a purchase option on Metastock, which will bring that monthly fee down to even $25 a month, which is super cheap. John, I'm sorry to hear you're having trouble. I might recommend you just jump on the chat with our support desk. They're here right now. I hear they're really good from everybody that talks to them, and they should be able to help you get up and running. And the email for that would actually be metastock.com/support chat. Sam says, do you think trading just one ETF, like you mentioned, DIA, is a system of value? I actually primarily have been using it to trade DIA since, to qualify this a little bit, since Steve and I spent some time on the road. You kind of saw that DIA. I kind of feel like, and I've been kind of looking at kind of doing some more stock options, or some more options on some different stocks. But to be frank about it, I've only been trading out on DIA with options on DIA, and it's been fantastic for me. So anyway, that's my experience and my results. I'd recommend you try it, and I'd recommend it like trade. I'm not a huge fan of paper trading. I think it's good to look at a lot of chart examples, and don't get me wrong, I think it's mentally just me. When I'm kind of incorporating a new methodology into my trading system and I'm paper trading it, I don't pay any attention to it because I'm really, really busy. But I find if I buy like just a couple shares, maybe one contract, that kind of stuff, and then kind of phase in while I'm trading it, all of a sudden I pay a lot more attention to how that goes. And I kind of recommend the same thing. Take a look at it on the ETF you want to trade, see how well it's worked historically, and then just take it easy. Trade enough that it's insignificant to you, but so that you'll pay attention to it, and then scale it in to where you're comfortable. That's just my personal opinion. In any case, I do want to say thank you guys for coming today. Looks like we've ran to the end of the questions. I'm sorry if I missed any. If you have any questions for me, or if you bought the program and you want to get the bonus scans, you'll need to email me as well. If you buy it as part of this promotion, I'll send them to you automatically. I'm going to send them out twice, once tomorrow and once early next week. So go ahead and get your order in right away so you get the bonus scans, the universe scans. But email address in here. It seems like it's pasting in here. Oh, I'm not to the bottom of the questions. Just feel free to give me a contact here. A lot of questions that I didn't see that were basically how much is the real-time and the DC program. I think I covered that. The DC program starts at about $59 a month. You can bring that down a little, quite a bit if you do a purchase of the program. The real-time actually is $250 a month, and you can also bring that down a lot after your trial to about $150 a month for all of the Reuters news and option. Can I use TD Ameritrade data on Metastock? I can do this in NinjaTrader. Not yet, or not now, I should say. Ivory asks, how many contracts do you trade at a time? Not very many. I'm very conservative when it comes to it. To be frank about it, usually a full position for me is about 5 contracts. That's what I'm comfortable with. Do not use my Gmail address. I actually typed that in an accident. It's a very unwashed email address. Use the metastock.com address. Jim, the webinar price, I'm going to send out, like I said, the bonus scans tomorrow towards the close of the business day, and then early next week. I'd encourage you to kind of get started as soon as you can. I'm going to say that the webinar price is available for a week. Yeah, I can actually kind of, if you have questions about pricing and that kind of stuff, one of the best place to go would probably be actually this web page, and put it on the right screen here. Okay, so here's kind of the page. Again, the Steve Bigelow. There's a little bit of a video. I think I recorded this video. It might be one that Steve recorded. I think it was me though. I'm pretty sure it was me. Kind of gives you some idea of the program. This candle profit system is $3.99 here today. It's $2.99, and with that you can get either the daily chart subscription with Data Link, which is $59 a month. Your first month is for free, and then or you can get the Metastock real-time subscription with Zenith, which is about $250 a month. But again, your first month is for free, and you can pull that cost down a little bit. With that, we do bundle in a product that I haven't shown today. It's a product we call Zenith. It's actually, if you're interested in any type of news or information in the marketplace, it's a white-labeled version of a product called Icon. Icon is a product Thomson Reuters developed at the cost of like over $1 billion now. They're always adding stuff to it. And they actually charge about $1,500 a month for brokerages and banks to get the same information. So it's actually really, really cool. There's all kinds of information on our website, metastock.com, about all of the products. And if you're confused, just give us a call. We'll help you out with it. I kind of lost the webinar room when I actually opened up that browser. Let's see if I can find it again. Where'd it go? Okay, here it is. So, for example, if we go ahead and click on Steve Bigelow, Sap asked to walk us through a little bit in the daily subscription. We'll go ahead and click on Order Now. The first thing I think it asks, I haven't gone through this order process in a while, so this will be pretty good for me. But yeah, if we click on, we'll click on what region you want. So North and South America will include all of the North and South American exchanges, including Canada. You just make your selection here. It does tell you the price here. This might be where you're confused, Sap, that it's $59 a month. But when you actually order it and put it in your order cart, at some point it's going to ask me to sign in. It actually waives that cost. So it says your cost is $0 for the first month. So that might be kind of where you're running through, is it's actually saying it's $150. That's probably what's going on. Okay? Once you add it to your cart, though, the charges for the first month will be waived. The total monthly is $59 a month. Again, I'd probably, usually people don't continue on that subscription rate. In some situations, it actually makes sense where, like if you need stocks and you need futures data, it might make sense to stay on the $59 subscription. But most people, what they'll do is purchase the program as a one-time cost. The one-time cost for Metastock DC is $499 as a Candlestick Forum customer or student. You get $449 on that. And then your data cost goes. People do it. Our retention on this, the reason I like to do the subscription software is I can actually waive the cost completely for you, so you can really get a chance to evaluate it and see how well it works for you. We do have update. Jim asked a good question about updates. We do update the software very frequently right now. They just released another update, and those updates are included. In a half or so, we'll actually come up with a major upgrade. If you're on the subscription, those are included, but they're a nominal cost if you're on a purchase version. And our sales guys can go into those for you. It's actually very, very affordable. Okay. All right, guys. I appreciate your time tonight. Oh, can you export the list of scan to thinkorswim? I can't answer that question completely because I don't know how to import a list into thinkorswim. You can actually copy the whole list to your clipboard or save it to Excel. So if you can paste a list into thinkorswim, the answer is yes, but in fact, would be really surprised if you can't paste a list of securities into thinkorswim. But I don't want to give an answer. I don't know if 100% sure. Nikki asked, does your data include indices or only stocks? The subscriptions that you'll be signing up for today will include all of the region you select. So they include stocks, they include indices, they include futures. They include a bunch of stuff you won't look at, like all the South American stuff, unless you're in South America or trading it for some reason. But it includes that entire region. The regions are, again, North and South America, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and Asia Pac. So we get a lot of customers from Asia Pac. We get a lot of customers from the Middle East. And if it's something that you want to play in your region, just select that region during your checkout. And yes, indices is included. I think I covered that. Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate your your hospitality. Thanks for your time tonight. Again, if we have questions, don't use that email. I am completely honest. I've got about 450 at least unread messages in my Gmail account. Use this email address. I have no unread messages in it. So I'll get back to you. Again, if you have questions that we didn't cover, feel free to reach out to me either by email or reach out to our sales guys by sales chat tomorrow. And we'll see you at the next one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jeff. Everybody, take a look at this information. Metastock has saved me hours and hours and hours of being able to pinpoint the right trades or give me the opportunity to have a number of trades to look at and evaluate which ones of those trades are the best ones. So I highly recommend Metastock. Not only is their system, customer service is probably the top in the industry. So with that, everybody, have a good evening. We will see you in the chat rooms tomorrow.